to Nomad at Night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, 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 No Maniacs, welcome to the show. This is Nomad at Night. I'm your host, Nomad. And tonight with me, I got my guy, the Canuck, and my guy, Trips, down at the bottom, who just uploaded his what, Trips?
Week 3 post-game reaction from the Sports Chicago style crew.
That's right. So go check that out, man. Anybody that's not familiar with Trips' show, he's got Sports Chicago style. That's his channel. Go over to a channel, please. I'm not demanding, I'm asking. Please go over to his channel and hit the subscribe button. We need to build our guy up, man. He's part of our community, man. We need to build him up as well. Make sure you check out the videos and hit a like if you do nothing else. But more importantly, right now, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and help the man grow his channel. That's what we do over here. We rally around each other, man, and we try to grow each other, flower each other, and that's just what we do, man. So without further ado, let me say this, man. I thought I was going to have a rough night, but I didn't. I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling like this. You know, this is just how I feel right now. It's pretty much every Bears fan in the world right now, man. We just licking our paws, and emotionally, we are a damn wreck right now because we expected to get a win, but like old James Brown, man, after a wild-ass bender, man, we struggling right now, and everybody's emotional right now, and you can understand that, right? So, we're gonna talk about it tonight, but that's why we have this channel for. That's part of the big reason why we grow a community, so we can come together, and the media doesn't take and run with the narrative and turn it into something it's not. Tonight we're gonna be honest, upfront with each other, and reflect on what the hell happened, man. And we ain't gonna be James Brown tonight, man. We're gonna have a good time with this stuff, man. And I just wanted to say that before I pass it over to my guy, the Canuck, for some pleasure.
I don't look nothing like this dude. I'm just saying, my haircut's way better than his. Rough day at the office, rough day at the office, but there were some upsides, there's some downsides. We'll get to all of those things, but let me give those who give me some love, let me give them some love as it should be. Milan, my guy Milan, what's up, Milan? He's my homie. Big shout out to you. Thanks for coming through. Shout out to Cornelia Squalls, Patty, Laura, Miss Patty. Hey, Illinois Jones just jumped in the chat. Brujas out there. Big cheers to you, my dude. Richard Long. Who else is out there? It's Crimson. King Book of World. Super No Maniac. King Book of World. Super No Maniac. Aunt Moss is out there too. Who else is out there? We got a pretty packed house early, so I love this. Jigsaw's out there with us. Kevin Scott's out there with us, chopping it up. Who else we got out there? Man, hey, let's get to it, man. Let me throw it down to my homie Triple R. It's always awesome to chop it over with my guy Triple R. What's popping, my dude?
And it's nice to be amongst family. Big up to all the Maniacs, the entire list, all. Being amongst family when things around you just kind of suck, and they suck, and you can see why they suck. But the people who are in charge of making them not suck don't see that they suck, or they're not fixing the suckage fast enough. So there's been a lot of suckage going on with this organization, and once again, today was no different. And it's not like just a player. This is a systematic coaching coordinator issue that we've seen before, and we didn't like it. And so I'm just kind of buckled in for the ride to come.
All those things.
So as the No Maniacs are trickling in, man, let's be a little bit loosey goosey for a minute, man. Let's talk about it, man. Who's sipping on something? because that's my go-to emotional thing to do, man. When I'm not having a good day or something didn't go right in my day, that's kind of how I soothe it. With a little bit of whiskey, man. With a little bit of whiskey. That's not too much, just a little bit. Have myself turn a bad thing into something good. You know what I mean? And so what we sipping on out here, No Maniacs, man? What we got going on, man? No, we got some beer, wine, a little liquor going on. What we doing tonight?
Well,
Hardcore water with a little bit of lemon.
That's some bullshit.
I'm on that Brian.
I'm sorry, I was just a little discombobulated because y'all had me thinking about the game again earlier, and I have to get my mind off of it. But okay, but sipping on water, because if I took solace in alcohol, according to this team, I would be on some kind of program that I don't want to be on. And a shout out to those that are on those programs. You know, this. It's all love. You know, you're not supposed to cheers with water, but fuck them. Cheers to you,
man. You know what? My guy Jay Sanders said he got an Incredible Hulk. I know you lying. Incredible Hulk, man, for real. Man, you know what? I had one of those a long time ago.
He's about to get blasted.
A long time ago. Almost had an awful night. The indiscretions just went away, man, and I was just like, nah, man, something ain't right tonight. Time to stop. Time to go home.
What's an Incredible Hulk again?
It's Alizé and what is it? Alizé and Hennessy.
Had me right there at Alizé. I'm done.
That Hennessy and Alizé.
I do Hennessy and Hypnotic.
Okay.
Yeah, Hennessy and Hypnotic. You're right.
That's what it is.
You're right about that. It was a long time ago, man. I'll never do that one again, man. That was just I don't know what the hell. Something between those two drinks has something in it that just really lowers your guards a whole lot. I'll just say that, and you don't need that kind of situation when you're in the wrong environment. Let's just put it that way.
I thought we weren't talking about Diddy tonight. We're not talking about Diddy. Come on, stop it.
How we get back to that dude again? Damn.
Cuff Daddy.
15 minutes.
Let's talk about this, man. Let's talk about this as people start. All right, let's talk about the most obvious thing tonight. And if you saw the thumbnail, then you know exactly where I'm going. Let me tell you something. I know there was some. I'm not going to call Shane Waldron. I know a lot of people want to call Shane Waldron a bad offensive coordinator. Don't feel like that. I think his decision making, play calling sequences, like that 4th and goal with that speed option, that was extremely. That was kind of. I'm trying to find a good way to say what I want to say without being flagrantly bogus about what I want to say, but it was a ill-conceived plan. Let's just say that. You know, you don't. It's to run something horizontal in a situation like that doesn't make sense unless it's a naked boot or Caleb is running out of the pocket after the play action fake, taking the defense one way, he boots back out the other way and he gets in clean. Other than that, I don't see any reason to be running anything horizontal on the goal line. That was just a silly play call basically a junior high play call for a professional football coach. Let's just start there in some of those calls. Let's just talk about Waldron first, then we'll get to Flus.
That was great.
Plenty to go around.
I'm sorry. I'm just like I was kind of listening to what you're saying there and what you I'm gonna translate Nomad. So what he said was, he didn't want to throw Shane Waldron under the bus, but he would point out some stuff where we could throw him under the bus.
That was a bad.
And then he passed the mic to me. So here you go. Here, kids, throw Shane Waldron under the bus. I'm actually not going to do that here today. I'm going to go a couple of steps higher. Look, to talk about the play calling today, there was a couple of calls here today that was very interesting. That horizontal play was the most obvious one of them all. Why are we why against the team with the biggest run issues in the league. Why are we passing 52 times against one of the worst run defenses in the league? That's all. Like from a if you're going into a game like this, one would think that you would want to do the run thing.
I could answer that a little. I can quasi answer that.
Well, there's an answer for it, but I'm gonna throw it back at you. Give us the answer.
Well, number one is something Nick and I were talking about in the background, and before the show came on, it's a rhythm thing. Number one, we didn't discuss that. It's a rhythm thing, trying to find a rhythm and a sweet spot for Caleb, and you might have to throw the ball all over the yard to do it. That's number one. Number two is, he's an advertised product. He's been marketed, promoted. He's been built up to be something. And you got to find out as early as possible, is he what you thought he was going to be? And how else to find that out without going out there and letting him spray the ball around the yard? That's, is it at the behest of us getting W's and sacrificing the running game right now? Yes, but if that quasi answers your question, that's the best thing I can come up with right now.
Well, but see, that best thing you can come up with doesn't take away from the fact that as a coach, you're supposed to recognize, obviously, a weak point that you should, stick your thumb into and accentuate the running game, which we didn't. But when the one play that we lined up 5 wide, empty backfield, where the defense couldn't blitz, and it just gave Caleb the opportunity to read the field, find the open guy, and move the chains, we didn't go back to it. And so as a coach, it's like, all right, they keep blitzing us. We can't do anything from these structure. Let's put him where he's comfortable. Put him in a shotgun. Let him read the field. Let him give the ball to the athletes, of which number 11, Mr. Carter, is still one of, and Tyler Scott isn't. But that's a whole different issue with the coaching. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you went out. Yeah, Nomad. you went to other places I didn't really want to go. Like,
did I make any good points though? Did I make any good points at all?
Look,
you tried.
You did attempt to do so. If you're saying, hey, let's figure out if the kid can play quarterback or not, I think he can, and he'll grow into that. But I think that should have been almost a given. You can't really, you shouldn't be putting him into a situation where he has to play hero ball. So it's a thing we've been, like, everybody's been saying about Caleb. Here he is in a situation where he has to play hero ball, and it's kind of crazy. No knock to him. He went out there. He put 300 plus yards out there today. It was what it was. But the game shouldn't all be on his shoulders. There has to be some common sense. There has to be some situational things. And speaking of situational, you know what? Let me throw it to you. You go and direct this show before I even transition to other places.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you did that, because there's a misuse, I think, going on with DJ Moore, like that slant pattern right into the meat of the defense, right into the meat of the defense. That was a medical ball right there. That's what it was. Yeah. He threw DJ right into, and Caleb is just running what they call, reading it and saying, hey, this is what they call, if you won't get on somebody, DJ, go holler at Waldron over there, man. But in that situation, it was a too high look, and he would have been able to beat that corner and get kind of over top of him, where Caleb would have had a whole shot. That's where you want to find DJ in a situation like that, not a slant pattern. And you talking about questionable play calling, I'd have been over in Shane Waldron's ear if I was DJ after that. Like, man, what are you doing, man? What you trying to do to me? You just ran me right into the nickel. And so stuff like that, again, I'm not going to throw Shane Waldron under the bus.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this, since we're talking about Shane and just we're gonna go all around it. But the second week in a row, Cole Kmet is left to defend the top either defensive end or top rushing defensive end on a play that is crucial and ends up being a very detrimental to
That's
the
another one.
yeah. So go ahead.
No. That's another one. I'm glad you brought that up because that play, when it's not like you can't depend on Caleb to see that. He could have seen that and called that's still going to be a questionable timeout coming from him being a rookie. Like, man, what are you doing burning the timeout? We had that blocked up. No, we didn't have it blocked up. We've got one of the best pass rushers coming out of the draft against a tight end. One-on-one, that's not a good play. And we needed that. We needed that down. That should have been a timeout, adjust the pass pro, do something else. But
well, I think by that time we might have been out of timeouts.
This is really where things get funky, y'all. Like, things get funky right there. Because at that point, hopefully you guys listen to Caleb after and Flus. But at that point, Caleb sort of dancing around the fact that they only had one timeout left around there. Flus blew through 2 timeouts, and I don't think even he knows why he blew through those.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get to Flus part. Hold on. Let's just stick to Waldron. I know where you're going. We're gonna get there. But Waldron, holy crap, man! There's certain things when you even if it's your last time out to burn, that particular down and distance was extremely important. We needed to get that. And you don't have the right pass pro set up. I know you think a whole hell of a lot of Cole Kmet. I do too, and I think he's a hell of a blocker. But you can overdo it, and you can't really expect him to be able to make that block against this didn't make any sense, man. You burn one here. One here. It shouldn't come from Caleb. It should have came from the sidelines.
So there's personnel usage issues here too, and I don't know if I think that falls on at least the OC side, but you look at the misuse of Cole Kmet over the past 2 weeks, and how all of a sudden Cole Kmet's out there like killing it today. Big ups to Cole Kmet and his performance today. I'm glad they got the opportunity to work him into the offense. I don't understand why he wasn't worked into the offense the previous 2 games, which leads me to stop and look at that play that you just lit up for him. Why was he out there? Right? Why was he lined up against Latu? That's, I don't. Where's Velus Jones? Is he going to be used again? Like, imagine I'm saying this. Where's Velus Jones? It's me. I'm saying this.
Well, it looked like possibly that one play, just to play a little devil's advocate, that Kmet was on lot 2 was like maybe it was going to be a screen of some sort, because Mercedes Lewis was just standing out there like he was just out there collecting a check. So I don't know what.
Man, he folded fist. He's my age, yo. He's like my age.
Yeah, I won't want your ass on the roster either.
Yo, if you get that check though, bro. I mean,
you gotta think about it. If you think about it this way, guys, you talking about Cole Kmet and his usage in the
needs more reps.
In the first couple of weeks, you got to think about it. Look at it this way. This is a better way to look at Cole Kmet's role. You got a rookie quarterback, new install offense, trying to get him the max pass protection you can get. The best thing you can do with your tight end is to help with your offensive line, have them chip, give the quarterback a little bit extra time to throw. That's just what I think they're thinking. And so why he wasn't being applied a whole lot in the passing game, I'm thinking that's the reason why. If y'all want to argue that, go right ahead. But I think, to me, in those first couple of weeks, it was the best thing they could have done, to be honest with you, as bad as that offensive line has been.
Well, maybe they could have played Matt Pryor from the beginning because of the cohesion, because he played through the preseason and the other guy wasn't hurt. And the reason the other guy was playing is because he making the big bucks. He's signing the big contract. Like, that's why he's playing. It ain't because he's been killing it in practice, because he ain't been practicing.
But then that's another issue. It's like, all right, so Pryor is in because Bates got hurt, and so he wasn't available to replace Davis. And so Braxton Jones goes down momentarily, thankfully. And so Pryor has to kick out to left, so Davis is right back in there. And it's like, all right, I get the salary cap implications, but really, Jatari Carter, SEMO couldn't develop him enough to keep him. But okay, it is what it is, and Davis sucked, and he got right back out. Was out of the gear as soon as Braxton came back in and Pryor kicked back over. So it's like, yeah, we know that he's on what they call it, quiet quitting, as my brother said. He's just
administrative leave.
Yeah, he doesn't play during the week because it's like, oh, I got a thing in my thing, and then during the game, it's like,
Tyler Scott is interesting to me, man, because
he can't get a post. Really, he can't get one.
I think what's going on, Trips, and I do think these dudes do take practice and take that literally as to they feel like whatever's going on in practice, that's going to translate to the game. Most coaches feel like that. I think they take it really, really literal. And apparently, I would, if I had to guess, even though I have no way to prove what I'm about to say, Tyler Scott's probably underperforming in practice.
Yeah.
And it's getting kind of scripted out of the playbook, kind of.
Well, what's my man Carter doing in practice? Damn.
Well, like, I can't take anything away from DeAndre Carter. I can't. Like, he's out there in the return game. He's been pretty nasty, man. He's been pretty nasty. All 3 weeks, he wasn't. This week it wasn't anything to write home about, but he's doing his job out there. Somehow he's our number 3 wide receiver right now, which is crazy. Out of this core, I'm confused as to how he wound up being the number 3 wide receiver out there. But yeah, where's Tyler Scott? I don't want to see Velus Jones in the wide receiver room at all. I'll be real. But I do want to see him running the rock. If we can't run the rock, hell, like somebody said, throw Tevin Jenkins at it earlier today. I'm trying to remember who. I think it was Yan Hammer was saying, just give Tevin Jenkins the ball, let him do it. But I'm cool. Like, Velus has a hard time. He has a hard time. Just hand him the ball, let him go. He's fast. He probably could have got around the corner in that horizontal situation on the at the end zone. I don't know. You got to do something with that run game. That run game is hurting, bro. It's not right.
They're not getting explosive plays. I think they kept Velus in the doghouse for the last couple of games. I think it's time to bring him out, man. See what kind of explosive plays you can get. A lot of people, and I like the running game today, man. I thought the running calls were halfway decent. For the most part, they just didn't commit to it. I think that's what we were looking for, the commitment to it. They ran the ball. Sometimes they sprinkled in the run and they were heavy pass. I think they just didn't commit to it, kids. And I think people were looking forward to a stronger commitment to the run game, and it just wasn't there.
I don't know if it was. I don't think it's a commitment thing. I got to look at the numbers. I think the numbers are close to about 13 carries for DeAndre Swift, and I think 23 in and around 20 odd for Roschon. Something like that. Like those are good run. That's a good amount of run game usage, but the question is effectiveness, and I'm wondering, like, is that an O-line thing, or is it? I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It wasn't definitely wasn't a commitment to the run because there were no like consistent, not run on run downs, but just running plays to get the O line lathered up, to get them, a little confidence going, to get the defense pushing back. And then it's just so hard telling if there were holes there that Swift or Herbert or Rojo didn't hit because the O line is in such flux and flummox. I don't know. But like Swift is definitely not looking like worth the investment, even though it was like, I guess, a bargain investment, I guess. But it's like, isn't he supposed to bring something to it where he can make something happen, like the jump cut that Taylor would like put in there?
I think we're pointing the finger in the wrong direction, man.
We're pointing fingers
as far as DeAndre Swift goes. I think
he's not been a world beater.
I don't think the offensive line is getting it done in the way that they have been getting it done in the past. Really, really establishing that ground game. I don't think they're getting a strong enough push. I don't think they're opening up the lanes that they were opening up last couple of years. I think it's not that I want to absolve DeAndre Swift, but I do know that it's a tandem thing when it comes to the running game. You need to be able to open up holes and create an alleyway for this cat to run in, and he's pretty good at finding a hole. He's pretty damn good at finding a hole. He's a jitterbug, and he cuts back really well. And so you have to look at the offensive line and the coach. Somebody just said that a few minutes ago, but come on, we can't put those kind of words up when you got those kind of words in the comment. Can't put that kind of stuff up. But you got to look at the I think you got to look at the offensive line before you criticize DeAndre Swift. I'm not saying don't criticize DeAndre Swift. I'm saying look at that first.
Yeah, that's why I give the disclaimer that beforehand. But still, even after the fact, Swift is like, well, what do you do, bro? Do something. And it's like poke him with a stick or something. Do something.
Man, dude, it's discouraging. It's discouraging. People are gonna I just know it's gonna be all about the coaching this week. All about the coaching. And we're gonna get to Flus, because Flus, once again, man, he disappointed me as a defensive coordinator calling plays, number one. Number two, as a situational play caller or a game manager during the game. Both parts of it, he failed this team today. I'm not sugarcoating this. He failed his team on calling the plays on defense. Number one. Two, managing the game situationally. He absolutely failed his team. I think he kind of said a little bit of that during the presser today, but that at this point in year 3 of you as a head coach, you have got to be better situationally than that. Number one, I'm talking about with your flags, your timeouts, game management, and two, golly, man, if you don't stop, God, he's stuck in the mud when it comes to this defense. There's no way in the world Richardson shouldn't have been on his back at least 10 times a day. He didn't even make the guy uncomfortable. He depended so much on 4 guys instead of overwhelming this offensive line like they just did to your goddamn quarterback last week. He's a young quarterback that doesn't really know what he's doing yet. Overwhelm him at the line of scrimmage. How many times did y'all see that?
Man.
How many times did y'all see him make that quarterback uncomfortable and scramble for his life? How many times did you see it, literally?
Oh, other than the front 4 just like beating their men and getting there, Flus didn't do shit other than stand on the sidelines and run his fingers through his hair. Some of them a bitch.
I didn't see it. I didn't see any corner blitzes this week. Did you guys see any blitzes this week?
I saw one at the wrong time when they were in the
couple.
I saw one when Taylor ran the long ass touchdown on us. I saw one. They were coming. Kyler was coming on a blitz, and they just gutted us at the right time.
Mm.
It was absolutely. Man, that was so frustrating. You get so. a defensive coordinator with really no if you don't have creativity and so some kind of color mind, you got black and white minded coordinators or play callers versus some really colorful minded play callers and see things that way. He sees things too plain. He's constantly trying to force his will on an offense with 4 guys. It was clear they wasn't really getting home today. Not in the way that you would want them to. So send extra guys. You got the players that can play one-on-one. That was probably my biggest problem today, is they didn't make this kid uncomfortable.
Hey man, that's what Flus do. He's like, he looks very vanilla all the time. Well, my front 4 get there, and then we'll play zone behind him. Let's go. That's it. That's who he is. That's what he is.
Dude, that's Flus is running my patience so thin. I'm trying to be the last person that comes out and say, you know what, we made the wrong choice, or we can do a better job, getting another a head coach. At worst, man, I think he needs to pass that play calling sheet to Eric Washington. We need some more aggression, some more urgency. It's disturbing me because I know what that defense is supposed to look like, and when it's not happening the right way, you got to ramp that shit up. You got to ramp it up. You got a quarterback that's shaky, and they don't really trust throwing the ball. And when he does drop back and throw the ball, and when he's clear down in distance, when he's got to throw the ball, get after that motherfucker. Why wasn't that happening? I'm just throwing that out there, man. Let me cool out, man. I'm lathering up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not mad at all that. I just have to put that out there. I'm not mad at all that. Like, did he call the best defensive game? No, but the defense is not really in question for me today. Really a defensive issue today. Could they have gotten an additional pick? Yeah, maybe. A couple more stats on the board, sure. Not really a defensive issue today. Things were like, the issues with Flus for me were more like just situational football stuff. Timeouts. Regular stuff that you would think.
Challenge, clock management.
You know what I mean? Like you would think at this point you would be okay. So I've messed these up a couple of times. I've learned my lesson. I've learned how to manage these things better. I've been through 2 seasons. Things went good. Things went bad.
When you don't need to. Taking a 2-pointer when you don't need to. Avoiding kicking an onside kick when you probably should have.
Bro, if you're going to burning a timeout there? What are you? Why would you do that there?
Oh, my God. It was so many. Let me shut up, man, because I'm gonna start.
Those are the things that make me question Matt Eberflus. But I don't know. It's right now. My questions are about personnel and situational football knowledge from the head coach of this team. Again, you got to get he's not a rookie anymore. You get the dust off your shoulders. Shake it off. I think you're the right guy for the job. I want to be behind you, bro. I want to be behind Matt Eberflus, but man, you can't do stuff. You can't do stuff like that costs your team like that. Those are key management mistakes that fall at your footsteps, and to that degree, I heard your presser as well. Flus didn't own up to much of that. I feel like at some point he will, but it is what it is. I don't know.
At some point, when does now? Some people might say we're being hyperbolic. We on the outside looking in. Here's the thing. Ryan Poles is up there watching this whole thing. He put his neck out for Flus. Flus, you know, he's a great team builder. He's a great standard setter. He let his team down situationally as a coach too many times. As a coach, you have to be better than that. I mean, I'm sitting here watching the game from home on my couch. And I know when you're emotionally charged and you're there on the sidelines and you got to do that stuff in real time, it's a little bit different. But you have to be composed. You have to listen to your assistants, and you have to be willing to, think outside of the box when it comes to giving your team an advantage. He didn't let them eat today. You got all those hungry dogs, and they could have really, really got after Quentin Richardson. He was in shotgun 95% of the time. And it's just sad to me that they didn't stuff the box and really shut the run down and make him one-dimensional and make him throw the ball and play into your hands. He ended up throwing those 2 picks anyway. But holy crap, man. If I had – that's my biggest complaint today is not one, how they're using DJ Moore. I think they're misusing him, number one. But my absolute biggest complaint tonight is Flus. How he called that defense, number one, and how he managed this football game. Trip, am I crazy, man? Y'all can shut me the fuck up right now if y'all want to.
Hey, man, Flus seems like, a nice guy, nice family man and shit. Probably donates to his church and all that good shit. But his head coaching, his head coaching acumen is like very lackluster. He's a good coach, but he is not a good head coach.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah,
he is not a awesome defensive coordinator. He is a good coach, but not an awesome defensive coordinator because he's too passive to be a defensive coordinator. He's just, let's get talented players and let the offense dictate what they do, and then we just kind of hope to make a play here and there because our front four against their, just that very basic, bland. Yeah, put in Coach Washington as the play caller because at least he'll throw some stunts in there some kind of way. If not blitzes, he'll creatively get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks and not just wait for the opposing quarterback to just throw lollipops for no goddamn reason. And his utilization of timeouts, situational calling, he's just standing there with just that dumbass look on his face, like, what's happening now? What? And it's like, no, that's not what we need as a head coach. And then I don't know who the hell hired Waldron as OC. You would think, I don't know how this shit works because usually, the general manager hires a head coach. The head coach hires the coordinators, but I don't know what the fuck they got going on in the house all right now. But they both, Poles and Flus, signed off on Waldron, who's not a novice OC. He's had 3 years of experience calling plays on a professional level. He looks like ass. And they both brought him in, so they're all amongst all of that stink from that ass. And this ain't no good kind of fat ass either. This is that nasty, stanky ass. And I don't like nasty, stanky ass like that. And that's what we got to look forward to for the rest of this, at least the future, because near future, because what are we going to do? They're not going to fire any coaches in the season. And there is nothing that Waldron or Simo have done to inspire any sort of confidence whatsoever. At least Flus has Washington for the defensive side of things, and he got a bunch of dogs, like Nomad was saying. So it makes his job as the defensive guy a lot easier, even though Indy was gashing us early with the run. Then they got away from it, thankfully. But then we couldn't do shit on offense or make them pay for the mistakes. So they went back to the run, and that's how they just tired the defense out. So, yeah, his offensive play calling or suggestions, his defensive play calling, and his head coaching all under that same umbrella, yeah, he got to go.
Man, I'm about to create another word because I do think the level of talent we have on this team has risen, let's just say, compared to when they got here, astronomically. I'm talking about in comparison to when they got here and stripped the team down, astronomically. The coaching is, I'm a new word. This is a new word, boo-booism. It's crap. I mean, some absolutely horrid coaching. I don't think y'all, I mean, I think Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron, at least Matt Eberflus, owed that team an apology today. The way he managed the game and the defenses that he called. He's got too many dogs out there to have this team playing passive like that. And it was a shame to watch it, man. It really was a shame to watch him. I know a lot of people don't feel that bad about the defense, but this was a one-dimensional court. This quarterback can't really throw the ball right now. And we still let Jonathan Taylor rip us for 100-something plus yards. Didn't get the quarterback down on the ground enough times. Didn't pressure him enough times. And it's because we have a stiff coach. He's a stiff. He's a straight-up stiff. And I hate saying that about him, man, because I like Matt Eberflus. But he's a stiff when it comes to managing this game and play calling. He needs to pass that sheet on over to Eric Washington and be the goddamn CEO. Oversee everything. Give the goddamn coordinator the sheet. He's a defensive coordinator. Give him the goddamn sheet. For God's sakes, you cannot keep doing this, man. If you're gonna, they hired him as a defensive coordinator. Trust him to coordinate the defense and call the goddamn plays.
I can't even do that. Like, I don't know what to say, man. He's not. He needs to be better at that CEO job before he can relinquish the DC job. Is basically the only job he can do well. He needs to prove he can do this.
Yes, he's not doing that well.
Look, I'm gonna say he isn't terrible at it. I think he's pretty good at it. I think he could be better if he was a little bit more aggressive. He's just not aggressive enough. You know, aggressive. Like sometimes just be aggressive for aggression's sake and see what happens. You know, oops. Like on some Dan Campbell stuff. Sometimes Dan Campbell just, hate to say this, guys, but sometimes Dan Campbell just aggressive. And then it comes back to bite him in the ankles or in the kneecaps or whatever.
You'll take that.
And, you'll come out and hey, look, I was a little aggressive. I'm sorry.
You want to go down swinging and sitting there in fetal position, getting your ass kicked, right?
Yeah, no, man, no. Like try throw something at these. Oh, you have the personnel now. At least on defense, you have the personnel to do some cool. You know what? You have the personnel on offense to do some cool stuff too. It's just this. Like for me, it's the run game. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on over there on that.
I know exactly what's going on, man. He's and this is not political. He's conservative as a play caller. He's really stubborn and thick-headed when it comes to the play calling thing. He insists on trying to beat a team with 4 rushers, and he insists on being in zone coverage when he doesn't need to be. When you got a quarterback that throws that bad, there's no need for a zone coverage. You might do a zone blitz, sometimes just to really freak him out when he's back to throw, just really freak him out the last second. You run a zone blitz out there, but you really attack this cat. What they did to Caleb last week is what should have happened to Anthony Richardson this week.
I agree.
Why didn't you see that? That's what I'm trying to. That's the point I'm trying to convey to the No-Maniacs is why didn't they overwhelm this quarterback the same way your quarterback just got overwhelmed? You could have done the same goddamn thing then.
All I'm saying is like Anthony Richardson didn't have a fantastic day at the office either. Like he put up 150 yards.
Yeah, but that was Anthony Richardson being Anthony Richardson because he threw a couple of those passes. He wasn't even pressured, and it was like, "Hey, Bears, here you go."
Yeah, it's it's bad, man. You gotta stack the box when you got a one-dimensional guy, and it was just horrible to see, man. And I don't like it. I just really don't, man. And that's really the thing that's crawling in me right now because I'm a defensive minded person, man. And the way I see the game is through the defense, and I know what you can do to help this situation. He just refuses. He's just stubborn. He's just stubborn and thick-headed. And I just let me get off this subject and let's talk about some Caleb Williams before I really snap the fuck off on Matt Eberflus, because that's what I really feel like doing right now. But I want to cheer people up because Caleb Williams, I will start this conversation this way. You can say palpably, kids, you've seen growth from week to week. Even with that bad game last week, I've seen growth from the beginning when he came in since week 1 until now. Better grasp of the offense. He's reading it better. I think the game is slightly slowing down for him. He's still holding on to that ball a little bit too long. He's still holding on to it a little bit too long. He's got to get rid of that ball a little bit. He's almost there, I feel like it. I feel like he's almost there, and they gave him a lot of opportunities to spray the ball around, and I like that about it. I'll just start there, and we can talk about it.
Look, he's a rookie. That's all. He's going to hold the ball a little bit long. Sometimes he gets rid of the ball super, super quickly, right? Like he's paying attention to where his feet are. He's getting his feet set. When he does get the feet set, he can be accurate. But there were some balls today that I don't know. Like he's going to have to look at those balls on film and question himself. There were some deep balls today from Caleb Williams that were ugly. Hate to say that. But again, Bears fans, like, it's going to take him a little while to get to where he needs to get to. I have faith he'll get there. But, it's going to take a little while for him to get there. What we saw today was somebody getting their feel, right? I think that there's a connection with him and Rome, which is a great thing. I also don't think there's much of a connection between him and DJ, which ain't so great considering they just signed DJ to a long-term contract. They just put these realities out there. They got to get on that. They got to make that thing work. Those two, they got to figure that out. Another guy to say that we might have a little bit of a connection with is Cole Kmet, and that brings me back to that personnel situation. Got to keep him in the game. Got to get him involved. We saw very little involvement from Gerald Everett today, which was weird. But back to Caleb, he there's really a couple of balls that I know he'll stop and go, man, I'd love to have those two back. But outside of that, I'm actually impressed with the growth that I saw. Kid put up 300 plus yards today, 300 yards, which I haven't seen from a Bears quarterback in quite some time. Mind you, a lot of that yardage was in garbage time, and it was also on a Hail Mary.
That was like, what, half of it right there?
We had about 260 by the third quarter, so not exactly.
When you got to throw it 56 times, man, that's not a good number.
Well, yeah, 52 times to like that's, again, it is what it is. I don't care that he had to throw it 50-odd times today in a losing effort. I'm looking at it as a situation where he started to get his feel, right? And that's kind of how I have to look at this. I think he's starting to get it. But once more, guys, it's going to take, like, it really depends on what the world wants. Do they want to see the kid grow and get better out there? Because that's what we're going to see. It's going to be a painstaking experience. And, like, I'm not trying to knock anybody. Throw me out there. You know what I mean? It would be a painstaking experience until eventually maybe I might potentially get it. I think this guy has all the intangibles to do that. But behind this offensive line, it's going to take him a little bit of time.
You're a politician.
I see the I see the growth. I see the intelligence because they're giving him the the leeway as a rookie to make those calls out there, to have a full grasp of what's going on with the offense. I recognize all that, and I like that. I liked his escapability when it breaks down and you a little spin and get out of pressure. But I was promised generational, and I don't give a fuck how bad the O line is, how bad the play calling is. You got to hit those open downfield shots. He's the number one goddamn draft pick at quarterback. I know there's a lot mentally going on there. I know maybe his internal play clock is sped up because of the offensive line. But when you got your number 9 draft pick wide receiver, Rome Odunze, streaking down the field, you got to hit him. There were several other misses that's like, okay, all right, once he settles down and mentally can process better, he'll hit those shots, those passes. But god damn, bro, where is this? Yeah, I don't have to go to do the combine or the physical, none of that bullshit, because I'm that hardcore. The punter, well, we don't even need a punter. I'm going to text this dude, yeah, you ain't going to even need a job, bro, because we're going to be doing all this. And it's like, I get it that it's an offensive coordinator thing. It's an offensive thing. It's an offensive line thing. But as far as his physical abilities, not impressed.
Well, Trips, I want to say this, and it's directly in response to the missed balls. And there's one thing to miss some passes and be a little bit off. You get that ball just over the receiver's tips of his fingers. You're off like that. That's one thing. We can talk about it. But he's off like I drank a whole goddamn pot of coffee right before the game off. And I'm a little jittery and my balls are coming out janky. That's what it looked like out there. It's like too much nerves. I think that's the main thing. I think it's nerves, and he sees something, and boom, that cannon just goes off, and he's got no kind of depth awareness of where that ball is going. He just lets that thing go.
Well, but then he brought a lot of it on himself. I understand, having the bravado and the machismo. I'm the best. But it's like, yo, you're Superman, dog. You all of this. All right, some of these rookie mistakes ain't supposed to be happening, right? But they are. Okay, so you're not Superman? Wait, what are we saying here? Because that was promised generational, god damn it.
I think the nervousness, man, kids, is where we were, man. It's like that cat took a coffee IV for 2 hours or something and came out there and played a football game. He's just way, way inaccurate on his deep ball, and that's something else that I'm not used to seeing. Like that's really bad, man. Like his missed throws are really, really bad missed throws, and it's just like too much power when you don't need it, and then not enough power when you should use it. You know what I mean? When he's supposed to line balls in, he's throwing them all kind of popsicle-y and kind of powder puffy when he's supposed to be lining the ball in there with some speed. But then, he's got his deep shots is wide open. I would bet that Caleb has missed thus far about 5. He's probably left about 5 touchdowns out there on his deep passes alone. Would anybody argue with that?
Yeah, good amount. And the word generational is definitely overused nowadays. It's a buzzword to sell a prospect. Like, the last real generational prospect probably has been Andrew Luck. I think Joe Burrow would be a close second, but it's not that close.
Hey, all right, Drew, to try. Take it easy now with the wording in there, man. Please. I need you to just stop using the catchwords, man. Please don't do that, man. But go ahead, kids.
Yeah. Triple R, man, you had to go down that road, man. I don't really want to go down that road. It doesn't make any difference to me.
I don't want to go down that road either, but that's where this team is driving us.
Listen, anyways, yeah, I'm not going down that. I'm not going down that road. It's just listen. We have a quarterback at this point, and they've decided to roll with the quarterback. So they're rolling with the quarterback. We gotta wade with them. What it really means is it's going to be a much tougher watch than we were hoping it was going to be. That's probably the
Why can't
easiest
we
way
make
to
the
put it,
playoffs?
yo. It's going to be a much tougher watch than we were hoping to see some zip boom bang offense, and we and that didn't show up at all. We got the same thing, but the same thing that we kind of expected that we were really going to get again. It's like, you asked your dad for an Atari 2600 back in the day, and he came through with, like, I don't know, there's some knockoff Timo version of an Atari 2600 with no video games at all. One video game pre-programmed. You just played that one game all the time. And that's the game we were playing. Like, we're playing the same crappy game over and over again.
Kids, you can overcome
PJ,
overcome bad play. You can fix things. You can't overcome bad coaching. That takes it right out of the hands of the players, man.
But there's a bigger conversation because it is a collaborative effort of ineptitude. I'm looking for a word that's not just swear. I'm trying not to swear for no good reason. I know this is Nomad at Night, but still, it is a collective effort. It's not just coaching. It is also personnel. It is also hubris. I just want everybody to look that word up if you don't know what it means. Hubris. Hubris is the word that I'm going to apply to situations like Nate Davis. Just hubris. Because there's no reason for stuff like that. No reason at all. You see it. We all saw it. We know it. Questioned it. No. It's not a problem. It's a problem. Just hubris. You know what I'm saying? You're just too stubborn to admit that there's an issue when there's a glaring, obvious, blatant issue. Just do something about it.
We were talking about Caleb Williams, man. I thought they made some pretty clean pockets for him. I thought he was I would say the line was a lot more improved than they were last week. I'm not saying they were perfect. They gave up some stuff, man, and he had some pretty clean pockets to throw. He just missed some wide open. You just got to scratch your head like, come on, what the fuck was that, Caleb? You got to dime those in, man. You can't miss those opportunities. And that's what I think was the key. I think he would say that. I think any coach that's sitting down talking to him is going to sit down and the first thing out of his mouth, all right, before we get into the tape, I just want to let you know, Caleb, you missed several opportunities. What were those opportunities? We can think of a couple of them right off the top of our head. You know what I mean? You have to, his composure and his calm in the pocket is something I think that develops over time. You know what I mean? As you start to learn the game plan, get comfortable with it, the system, and you start get comfortable with the speed of the NFL, I think all of that shit will calm down. So I'm not like one of those people who thinks this is going to be something habitual. I hope not. I think he's got it in him to be deadly accurate down the field, but right now you're just not seeing it. And what I just said previously, I think is the reason why.
I don't know why. I'm not really sure. I didn't. To be frank with you, I didn't expect to see that. I didn't expect to see all of a sudden he does not throw a deep ball or he's having trouble throwing the deep ball. I didn't expect to see it. His film doesn't show that at all. So it's pretty accurate arm, pretty decent arm talent. The things I saw him do by way of throwing the football didn't speak to a potential shaky area with a downfield pass. And here we are looking at it, and I'm a little bit confused as to the actual answer. Like, why is this happening? I'm hoping that it's strictly just happy feet, which happens. It happens much more so when you are running for your life. So, I don't know. Like, even that pass in preseason, he's rolling out, troublesome situation, gets the feet set, boom, beautiful touch, deep ball. I like
some of his picks were that one pick was kind of disturbing. He's got to know when and when not to throw a ball. That's also some rookie shit. That should have been a pick six he gave up to number 40 over on the left hand side when he gave that up. Again, that's really I'm not about to sit here and glaze, Caleb. He is a rookie, and you can't be hyperbolic about it. You can criticize him and be dead ass accurate about your criticism and still understand. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Two things can be true. He's got some nerves issues, and he really played like he ate a cracked sandwich before the game at times. He really did. I mean, he just he throws the ball nervously sometimes when he shouldn't. I've seen a couple of times, 2 or 3, maybe 4 times that, as opposed to what I've seen previously in the first 2 games, he's learning to get rid of the ball and take the L. Just throw the ball out, get rid of the ball. Don't try to play hero and just play the next down. You saw a little bit of that today. To me, that's growth. I don't know how you guys see it, kids.
Well,
Growth.
That is growth, but the thing is that this is the second week in a row where the defense has been good enough to keep this shambles of games, within one score, where the offense has a chance to go down and win the game. And if Williams just hits the layups, the ones that he misses, just hit those. I think the outcomes of the games are a lot different. And I'm a big guy in knowing the difference between reasons and excuses. And, there are valid reasons that, this rookie quarterback, quote unquote, generational or not, is having struggles because of, the coaching that he's getting on the offense, because of his offensive line, because he's a rookie and adjusting to the league. Those are valid reasons. But when the excuses come in, or it's like, well, his line protected that time, but he missed the open guy because he's just too amped up. He had time and he had a receiver, but he just couldn't calm himself down. It's like, yeah, that's an excuse. And you can't have those as number one pick, generational or not. You got to bring in that talent to where it's like the layups I can hit, the hard stuff I can do. That's what makes me special. But he's not just doing a lot of the easy stuff. And it's just more than one pass here, one pass there. It's way too many passes, just in my opinion, to be the caliber of athlete, he's deemed to be. That he's just not. I understand it's a third game, but you just want to see it where it's like, okay, all right, there we go. It's like, cool. He can, shift the perception. He can change the play. He can do all that beautiful stuff, but if you can't deliver the ball to the receiver, it's all for nothing.
Yeah. Go ahead, kids. I see you building up over there.
Like I say, I don't know what to say. He's a rookie, man. This is what you get. I don't know what else to say. You draft a rookie, he starts in the NFL. He's going to have his ups and downs. It's going to affect your trajectory as a football team. About that simple. Yes, the offensive line is a problem. It's not an excuse, it's a fact, right? It's not a reason, it's fact. Factually, there's problems there. But today, I also have to say that I think with the addition of Matt Pryor, they played a fair amount better than they had been during the first 2 games. I have to give them a little bit of props. Matt Pryor did let a sack go past them. Again, if you're sort of being thrust in there, you're not necessarily the guy who's been worked in with the first team all this time. It'll take him a little bit of time to acclimate. But again, I think he showed a fair amount better today than than the last couple of weeks. Same thing with Coleman Shelton. I think he had a much better game today than he has over the course of the last couple of weeks. All that speaks well for Caleb Williams getting a little bit more comfortable back there and being able to deliver the ball and drive the football, down the field. Again, a lot of horizontal play calling today too, which I found a little bit weird. Again, we're talking so much about the quarterback. Everybody wants the quarterback situation to be solved in Chicago finally. Guys, you've waited 50 plus years. Be patient.
Kids, I need to point out something because this has been in my mind. Shout out to PJ, man. PJ, if you want to jump in, man, just say the word. I believe I still got your email in there, man. We can get you in if you want to. But he just made a comment, and truth about it is Caleb probably should have got him on a couple more, 2 or 3 more picks. If we're being honest, man. It's sometimes when he gets a little rabbity back there, and then it goes back to what I was saying before, kids, when we were evaluating this cat, is he's super, super arm talented. And he's very, very confident in his arm and almost to the level of cocky. Remember talking about that? Like he might be a little too overconfident in his arm, and he throws the ball and tries to fit balls and tries to make plays when he shouldn't try to make plays, when he should eat a ball.
Oh,
remember us talking about that?
That's going to get worse.
I hope not. Don't say that. Knocking on wood, right?
It's before it gets.
It's gunslinger shit.
I tried to explain these things. You know what I mean? I tried to explain these things before we got here many moons ago. But that he has to feel that out, guys. And the only way he's going to feel that out is this season in live reps. That's how he's going to feel that out until he masters it. So it'll take him a little while, man.
But he gets a little rabbit ass sometimes back there when he gets a little scattered.
You would too, dog.
It's a bad habit to grow when you get a little scattered and things get a little flummoxed back there. That's a bad time to raise your arm and try to throw a goddamn ball, unless you're throwing it out of bounds. He tried to throw that damn ball in play too many times. I have to be critical about that because I've seen that one too many times. PJ is absolutely right about that shit.
I'm not I'm the last guy to say you shouldn't be critical of that. I am gonna say he does it a fair amount more, or we've seen him do it a fair amount more than we've seen the last couple of guys do it. He also goes down when he scrambles, right? Like he slides, he gets down. These are things that we had a hard time with the other couple of guys with, right? I see a smart, knowledgeable quarterback there with really good arm talent. I don't know what's going on with the feet. I don't know what's going on with, with just lofting airmail. I don't know where that came from.
It only comes when he gets rabbity back there, when he gets a little rabbit-like, when things get a little scattershot back there, and he feels a little turmoil. He'll try to get away from there, and then at the last second, he'll try to launch one when he shouldn't. In play,
that's hero ball, though. You know what I mean? Like that is hero ball.
About before we got him. That shit, he's got to break that habit, man. If he wants to ever be.
It's also what makes him great, though.
Nah,
so, like I'm saying, if it costs this season, he's here for the long haul. If it costs this season for him to learn how to master that, here we are.
No,
it's gonna be a long 17 games. It's gonna come to the tune of a few interceptions, but when he masters it.
Hey, kids, by the way, be quiet. Tripp's taking an old man nap right here live on the show.
Now I'm just listening because it's just so disheartening because I would love to be at this point in the season, even if
Trip, I saw some drool, man. Stop playing.
Record is what it is. It's like at least we can say, we lost these couple games, but I like the way this team is looking. We are not saying that on offense. The defense, yeah, but the offense is we're still trying to figure out if they know what they're doing. And that's not a good place to be in going into, game 4 of the season, that started 3 games ago. I don't care how new it is. It's like you all are still professionals. There should be something that you do that you can do well. They don't have any of that.
All right. I got some smelling sauce, Trip. If you need it, man.
Man, it's just like, I'm just like,
That sounds like a good idea to me too, man. I'm just saying after this football performance, bro, I think we all need a good night's sleep, dog.
I'm feeling good, man. I don't think, even though we lost, and there's some bad stuff to talk about, which we've been spending a pretty good time talking about. I think there were some bright moments, mostly I could see some growth from Caleb, but I can see some bad shit developing sometimes, and some of the shit he does.
Okay.
That shit that's a bad habit to be developing. They've got to get that out of him. They've got to get some of that shit out of him. Straight up. If you want to be a championship contending quarterback, you got to get some of that bullshit out of you. You got to shake that shit loose. Flat out. You can't be that willy-nilly with the ball when you get a little rabbit ass back there.
So I want to talk about something else. Can we transition a little bit?
Go ahead, man. What you want to talk about?
Man, I don't understand why Tyler Scott was basically a healthy scratch today.
again.
I don't understand that. The Nate Davis thing makes perfect sense to me, clearly, right? You're benched. It is what it is. Velas, same situation, is what it is. Anybody see Dominique Robinson today, by chance?
Healthy scratch.
Healthy scratch.
Healthy scratches.
Again.
He's
So,
not as good as the guys that's starting.
yeah. But he's on the 53.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got basically a sieve at guard. We've got 4 healthy scratches, guys.
What you getting at?
I'm getting at what the hell do we have 4 healthy scratches for when like we should be looking for answers for the offensive line?
Well,
No. If we're having troubles running the football and it's not DeAndre Swift and we're not going to address it with a
we're into a post.
Let me finish. So if it's not the running back and it's likely the line, we need to do something to address the line. We have 4 roster spots right now that are healthy scratches that are not helping the team presently. And I'm not saying which one you got to deal with. Do what you must, but answer the call. Answer the situation that has reared its ugly head. Something has to happen. You can't just ride this out like this. It's going to affect the quarterback's development.
So
He said you can't just ride this out like this. This organization says, hold my beer.
Where's man?
they've got dudes on the practice squad, man. They've got dudes on the practice squad. Are they elevating the right people?
Bro.
They got a decent practice squad. I like that practice squad they put together. Are they elevating the right people? Is
that what you want is that who you want or what you want to be protecting your future generational talent quarterback where clearly there's an issue in front of you?
All right, kids, let me pause you 1 second. Just to read, I'm gonna ask you a question based off what you just said. Question would be, and I'm gonna ask the chat the same damn thing. I'm gonna make it real simple for you guys to understand. Do you think, like, let's just say, for instance, holding on to those 4 spots, do you think that's a Eberflus thing, or do you think that's a Poles thing? Him, one of those guys, kind of. I know Flus really believes in developing talent, right? And I also know that Poles drafted some of these guys you're talking about? And who do you think holds the leverage in that situation? Is it Poles or Flus?
This is a Ryan Poles question. This is not a Matt Eberflus question. I'm just saying, I don't think Matt Eberflus carries any sway in this conversation. To make matters worse, I'm talking about the offensive line where the issue is. He ain't even paying attention to that in his CEO role. That falls down to the offensive coordinator. So it's got nothing to do with Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, I would think that the practice squad, that's personnel decisions. That's general manager's stuff, right? That's his area right there. And Ryan Poles was the one that said going into the season that he felt, strong about his offensive line and their depth. And they immediately go out and, suck major eggs, more than Easter egg hunts on Easter, So what is he seeing offensive line wise that his assistant general manager, another former offensive lineman, Ian Cunningham, that together, are they seeing on this offensive line with the talent that they're bringing in that makes them go, yeah, giving each other fist bumps and all that? Because what we're seeing on the field has to be different than what they're seeing in practice. Because if what we're seeing on the field is the same shit that they're seeing in practice, and they're putting that practice field bullshit onto the field bullshit, yeah, they all got to go. President Warren, handle your business.
So we started talking about Tyler Scott, and then we slid off into a whole other conversation about, roster spots, who's active, who's holding the 53-man spot, and why is that? We start talking about that. Let's just zero in on Tyler Scott and all the hype and surrounding him when we drafted that kid, and he's been a non-factor. In fact,
what can we say? We don't know because we haven't seen him.
I'm just saying how you feel about it. How you feel about it?
It's not that we can say that, well, he was out there and he ran the wrong route or he missed a block or he dropped the ball because he hasn't been out there. And that is just personnel management, and that would have to fall to offensive coordinator because he's on the roster, so Poles' job is done there, so he's there on the team. If Flus is letting Waldron handle his offensive personnel and duties, and that's on the offensive coaches that they're not. At least you saw all these 52 pass attempts that our rookie quarterback made, which is really fucking crazy. But how many of those went to Carter? And then, it's like, well, okay, DJ Moore got a few in there. And then Odunze's starting to get worked in. But it's like, we got Colin Johnson out there. He's 6 foot goddamn 6. That's kind of hard to miss on a mismatch on a defender. We can't scheme up something knowing that we got a 6'6" receiver out there. It's like, all right, well, if we need this, we're going to go to this guy. We can't get Scott, who has, the blazing speed to line up and just run a post. And, the rush is coming. All right, Caleb, get it down there because they're running these 2 deep safeties. And it's like, it's just the utilization of the personnel that we do have on the active roster is very, what the fuck are we doing it?
All right. Trip, while we at it, let me ask you this question. Overall, I'm talking, and you guys in the chat can answer the same question I'm asking Trips. If level of concern, how would you rank? I'm talking about from highest to lowest level of concern. Coaching, managing, players. What would you rank your highest level of concern from top to bottom? Right now, I'm feeling like coaching, and then management, and then players.
Well, I think the management that the players have put together for this coaching staff are good enough and talented enough to win. So he got the ingredients, but the chefs in the kitchen is just fucking up the dishes. So I would see more coaching.
Robin Harris.
Except for the offensive line, because I think that is an ingredient issue as well. So, like, 2 things could be true there.
Robin Harris agrees with you. What about you, kids? How you feel about that? Ranking your highest level concern down to the lowest out of those three.
Management. It's got to be management.
That's
Right.
if
You gotta look, you gotta zoom out. I can't look at this thing myopically because, right, the players and the coaches would not be in the position they're in if it wasn't for management. Simple.
Well, the management did hire the coaches too. So
That's what I'm saying. The management put the coaches in place. Management selected the players, even if the coaches had influence on that selection. It's management. It rolls up to Ryan Poles' desk. So that's why I was asking the question that I was asking about Tyler, Dominique, and Velas. I don't like if you're looking at the situation as it stands, there's an issue with that line. There's means to rectify that issue. I suspect he should implore those means and or explore them. I'm using great language for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at them, make a decision, and if that decision comes at the expense of one of these guys that you've held super dear to this team, it is what it is. There's a problem. It requires urgent rectification. Boom. Good language, y'all.
right, and you look at the decisions. It's like, all right, they Dominique Robinson, Velas were both drafted to be developmental, acquisitions. This is year 3 and they can't even make the active roster. It's still early in the season, but then you see a guy off the practice squad like Chroma got signed by New England, I think it was. And it's like, you don't know what the future will hold, but right now, Dominique Robinson ain't doing shit helping this team. Let him go and keep Chroma. Why? I just don't want to see good players be lost or signed or gotten away because we have this allegiance to these players. And somebody brought up that, Paul's out there crying if he got to cut motherfuckers or some shit. It's like, man, you the GM. Put on your GM hands and get over that shit and get that dude out of there and get somebody in there who can play. And that I understand the sensitivity and empathy and all that being a human, but yeah, we don't need a human. We need a general manager.
I gotta disagree with that, man. I love that part of him. I love the emotional side of human nature. Human nature, we are very emotional creatures. Yes, does it take a certain level of Bram Stoker's Dracula with no goddamn soul to do the job? I think that's what Tripp is trying to say.
No, he's not. Like, for you it is. For you it is, because that's how you
That's not my nature, man.
That's how you business, man. That's how you business. At the same time, I'm gonna put some things like this is why those guys are on this team. This is why Matt Eberflus is the head coach right now, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's all because they have a little bit of a relationship. There's some heartstrings there. There's some personal, emotional ties. That's really what this boils down to, guys. So in business, you really do kind of have to be Bram Stoker.
Do you have to, man? Is that
you don't have to, but it helps.
In business, you kind of have to be like in a situation like. So I'm gonna use the cell phone plan analogy, right? So you can get your cell phone plan with whoever, Verizon, and you can be with Verizon for 50 years. The fact of the matter is, if you switch your phone every 2 years to a new carrier, I'm telling the world this straight up and down. If you switch every 2 years, you will guaranteedly get a better deal. Bi-yearly, guaranteedly. It's a fact. And it's a fact that people in the telecom industry know. And we know it. Been in the telecom industry for a while. In any event, if one of my directors came came to a meeting and he sat down and he said, basically, guys, if your client is not doing the 2-year dance, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Go make sure they have a dance partner. That's what he came down and told us. It's exactly the same in the NFL, except the year's 4 years. He's got a 4-year dance to do. He's decided to hitch his wagon to specific people, and a lot of that has to do with how he feels about those people. And I think Matt Eberflus is a great guy. I'm not sure if he's the best head coaching candidate out there available on the market, or ever was.
Well, I mean, kid, the difference in what you're saying, and people are eating me up, especially Crimson, is like that's a loser strategy. You shouldn't. Like, I'd be the billionaire that had to lay off half my workforce and end up buying them all a goddamn house. You know, I'm just that kind of person. Like the overwhelming feeling that I would get as an individual that I am, I'm gonna do something really nice, the best thing that I can do, knowing that I just interrupted these people's lives, wholly interrupted these people's lives by taking their jobs away. And I'm just talking about the human element of Ryan Post. I like that part of it. However, there's got to be a line. There's got to be a line to all of that. Are we too much? Are we so far into development we can't even see the fact that we may be missing some opportunities and some other players elsewhere that we might be able to give some chances to? All that kind of stuff is worth questioning, right? And so, for a person like me, he fits. Ryan Poles' mind yokes with me, man, because I know a lot of people that probably would say, "Hey, I wish you'd have had that kind of heart when it came to Justin Fields," all that kind of stuff. But I think there's something to be said about player development, because I know this: if you start letting go of guys that you think have a significant talent and an upside high ceiling to them, and you fuck around and let them go, they kill your ass on another.
Who cares? Like
I do, motherfucker. That's what.
Hold on. Why I'm saying who cares is because there is a gaping hole on the offensive line that needs immediate. I said it a minute ago. It needs to be addressed immediately. It has to be dealt with, or this will affect the number one draft pick that you just dumped your entire career into. You poured your career into
the line versus the coach,
and you're worried about
what makes you think it's the actual
somebody
line
who's not even making it on the field.
What makes you think it's the line versus the coach? I can look at the all 22 and tell you it's more coach than it is player. I can tell you that there's no.
So hold on a second. You think that they should? You think that there's not a personnel issue on this offensive line? There's no personnel issue there.
The biggest concern of mine is Shelton starting at center and Braxton Jones starting at left tackle. Whether or not, now this is three things. Now this is a big deal. Whether or not Nate Davis still has the heart to play in this at a high level in this league. Those three things. That's not like if you're talking about Braxton Jones, I think Braxton Jones is going to be a great swing tackle one day and not be a starting left tackle. I think Coleman Shelton should be a good swing center. We got some swing guys as starters, and we got a bad O-line coach that's not getting what he needs out of his players. It's, to me, what I seen on all 22 is direct indictment of the coach. I'm just telling you what I saw, kids, not what I think. That's all.
All right. If you think that the offensive line woes can be fixed by coaching, then by all means, maybe Ryan Poles can make some level, find some level of solution in that. Again, you've suggested to bring in a consultant of some kind. Harry, he stands out there in the wind. I believe he's working in the college ranks in some capacity. There's guys out there perhaps they could call on. That's one way to fix it. That's one way to address it. But I'm not so sure that's the issue. I think the issue might be personnel.
Kids, look at it this way. If you see the same issues haunting the last quarterback, the exact same issues haunting the last quarterback that we had. When do we turn the pitchforks, bats, and chains towards the offensive line coach? At some point, we need.
I'm not sure. I think you can. That's a great question. We can turn the pitchforks towards him once I think Ryan Poles has expired the personnel issue case scenario. And like the only reason I'm saying this is because he just decided to keep this guy. He fired everybody else in on the offense and kept this guy specifically. What the reasoning behind that was, I don't know, because he hasn't really had a fantastic foray in the previous 2 years. He's here. They made a decision to keep him. Again, back to that like heartstrings thing I was sort of talking about before. Right? They made a decision to keep, and I think it's much more relationship-based than performance-based, given the performance. And here we are. If you're saying it's a coaching thing, I buy it. I believe you. Maybe it's all Chris Morgan. But I would definitely test out the free agency market, given you got a bunch of guys who aren't seeing the field, and see if it's Chris Morgan for real.
Kids,
go ahead, Nomad.
Real quick, Trips, and you can go, man. I'm so sure about this. Probably being the biggest colossal mistake in the offseason was the fact that they didn't give the new offensive coordinator his new offensive line coach. They force-fed Shane Waldron this coach that they wanted to keep instead of allowing like all coaches get when you bring in a new offensive coordinator, their offensive line coach of choice. So he's scheming up stuff and asking this offensive line coach to get it blocked up for him. That's not used to blocking up this scheme. And so to me, that was the most, as I'm looking back at it now, looking after game 3, where we are right now, to me, that was the biggest colossal mistake they made in the offseason, not giving Shane Waldron the offensive line coach that he preferred. I think that was a mistake.
Well, yeah, that was something that, somebody said at the time. It's like, all right, so now Waldron and Semo have to get on the same page, as opposed to Waldron already being on the same page, a person that he hired. And, that's coaching and that's management. But then the player aspect comes to, these are professional football players. They should know how to pick up blitzes and stunts and how to communicate, whether they've been in practice the entire offseason or not. And it just comes down to, well, what's my job on this play? All right, so I know my job. And so your job is that, because offensive linemen know each other's jobs. And just the unawareness, they're not picking up their feet. They're just very lackadaisical, so that falls on the players too, because it's like you're out there and you have no idea what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. And it shows because we see the film. And it's like, all right, when they're all on the same page and they're cohesive and they're blocking, it looks okay. They're not a world beater offensive line by any means of the stretch of the imagination, but they're decent enough to keep, our number one quarterback upright and safe until we get to the point that now we're calling offensive plays that are beyond what the offensive line can block. And being the offensive coordinator and play caller, Shane Waldron, he's got to be seeing what we are all seeing, that this offensive line is not up to snuff to be able to handle those deeper route concepts he's trying to deploy. Where's the short stuff that we can get the ball out? They did a little bit more with Cole Kmet today, but now it's kind of like, all right, well, we saw that. Now we're going to address that. Okay, we see this. Now we're going to address this. We're going to be on week 11 before we have anything resembling an offense, if that's before anybody gets hurt. And so just the unpreparedness of this offensive staff is one thing, The unpreparedness of the physicality of the players is another thing. Then the unpreparedness for the possibilities of hiring a coach that's not up to snuff, or keeping a coach that's not up to snuff, or having players, free agents that aren't up to snuff. So it's just an organizational thing that can have different levels of different wrong. And the frustrating part is we can all see the wrong, but the right that we want to project and look forward to and say what it could be, ain't nobody in house all doing it.
All right. I just asked Nick to do something. What I just asked Nick to do was pull up the coaching staff. Now I'm finna play it right into your hands, kid. Kids is a deep thinking MF if you ever want to meet one, and he gets into the conspiracy theories. This is gonna make you think a little bit. Remember when they brought in those new coaches, and the questions were, now I'm gonna paint this picture for everybody. Hold on, before you roll that, Nick, just hold on. Remember when we were talking about this, guys, and I said that okay, it's a good chance that Matt Eberflus won't be brought back this year. Okay, if he's brought back, they'll bring in a bunch of new guys to help facilitate this thing. And so Matt Eberflus, some of his guys got booted, but he was kept. And you know who else he was able to keep? His buddy Chris Morgan. He was able to keep Chris Morgan. But they got all these different guys. You got Thomas Brown. You've got Kerry Joseph, who I believe Shane Waldron brought in. All these different coaches. And I remember having this conversation with you kids. And when Chris was still here, and we had a deep-ass conversation about this. And I told you then, and I still believe this now, this is a great-ass plan B in case shit don't go right with Flus and who he's brought in. And is it working with Flus or not? That was the question. Now, is this whole thing, it's almost like, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. It almost feels like Morgan is damn near sabotaging this shit. Ain't no way in the world we should be this lacking in the run game as opposed to what we were doing the last couple of years. It's almost like they're harpooning Shane Waldron on purpose. Almost. That's kind of how I feel. And I just want to throw that out there for everybody. I don't like this setup. I don't like this mix matching of coaches when this coordinator should have been able to get the guys that he wanted. But I did like the backup plan, that plan B that they brought in these coaches, and you can pull that up now, Nick, if you want to. And we'll look at some of these new guys they brought in. All right, so we got Flus. Keep scrolling. Shane Waldron. New guy, Eric Washington, who he doesn't want to give the play sheet to. Hightower still here. Hold up, let's slow down right here. Okay, this is the strength conditioning coach, receivers coach, new guy. I think this is a new guy, Brian Bing, assistant defensive line coach. I think that's Eric Washington's guy. Dave Borgonzi, another leftover from last year with Flus. Thomas Brown, name to keep your eye on. He's the offensive passing game coordinator. Quality control guy is Zach Cable. I want to say he was brought on. Andre Curtis, I think he's been here a while. Secondary and safeties. Stop me, guys, if you think I get this wrong anywhere. Jim Dre, I think he's been here a while. Ryan Griffin, offensive, what is he? Offensive quarterbacks, assistant quarterbacks guy, receiver guy. Let me look at this. Passing game coordinator, John Hope, defensive passing game. Assistant offensive line. Who's that guy? And how long has he been here? Did we just hire him last year? If somebody wants to run that down, it'd be a good time to do it. Find out who.
His fault. Sorry.
Halterling. John Halterling. Is he a guy?
Jason. I'm just teasing. Leave Jason alone. Now people are going to go throw eggs at his house.
Enters his first season as the assistant offensive line coach. Bet all your goddamn money that's the guy that Shane Waldron wanted. And he ended up being the assistant because they wanted to keep Chris Morgan as the offensive line head coach. I mean, the offensive line coordinator.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm getting at?
So Waldron just brought him on the squad anyhow, just in case things went sideways. But here they are. We sideways.
He had to take a back seat to who Flus wanted to keep here. How does that shit work? You want me to coordinate the offense? You want my proficient offense that I think that I can bring to the table? Give me the fucking coaches I want.
Well, but he did take the job. He accepted it.
We just clicked on him, Jigsaw. He just got here last year. He was one of the off-season pickups. That's exactly why I asked Nick to do this, to pull this up, to find out who was behind that guy.
You know, because if you're an OC who believes in what he's doing and knows that his thing will work, are you going to accept the job? You know, saying, well, we want you to be our OC, but we don't want your coaching staff. We want you to roll with some guys we already got. You know, are you going to walk away from that and be like, nah, I roll with who I roll with? Or do you take the job and look like we're looking?
Okay, so let me address what Laz is saying. Shout out to Laz for this comment because he's probably watching some podcasts that I haven't had time to watch. But he says Olin says that he knows Morgan well, and Waldron isn't listening to him. How much credence do you give to that?
Well, why would you? You know, you have 3 years of experience as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. You just got hired to be the offensive coordinator for the Bears. Why are you going to listen to some offensive line coach that's already been here?
I think there's some.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going. You know, you understand why I brought this up, kids. I think we're filling out the blanks right now.
And I get it. Like, you know, I get it. Again, the macro level for me, as always, right? So, for me, the question was not, you know, it should not have. None of these questions should be. And I need more alcohol, and I'm out of mix. I have a lot of booze. I'm out of mix. I need more
power struggle.
I should have went to go get some mix. I should have went to go get mix, but instead I made dinner, ate dinner. I'm fed, but now we're talking about Chicago Bears stuff, and it makes me want to have alcohol.
Could we acknowledge a possible power struggle, kids?
No, I can't acknowledge the power struggle, and I think you're probably bang on. I think you're bang on with this. Either he ain't working with Shane, or Shane ain't working with him. I don't give a shit, yo. Like, I don't. This should not even be in question or in contention or in conversation. Why? Because when you decide to bring a brand spanking new rookie number 1 quarterback onto your team, and you have a coach, a head coach, who's clearly been having troubles over the course of the last couple of seasons, you flush the toilet and you bring in new blood. And you let the new blood bring in their new blood. And they decide whether they want this quarterback or the other one or what have you alongside you as a GM. And you all shake hands and you're happy about it and you march forward. And even in this scenario, perhaps Caleb Williams might struggle. You know, perhaps that rookie might struggle. It's just a reality. But we shouldn't be having questions about, like, who trusts who in the offensive rooms. Like,
what if the power struggle exists and we just on the outside can't? You can turn your nose up to it because we're fans and we shouldn't be talking about stuff like this in some people's mind. But I know what inside of a building looks like. You got all them alpha male personalities and, you know, people pulling in this way. We should be doing more of this, not so much that type of shit that really
alpha male. My guys put forward some pretty lackluster offensive line assemblies over the course of the last few seasons. If the quote was Shane Waldron ain't listening to him. I'm not really sure why Shane Waldron should be listening to him at all.
He's a subordinate.
Wasn't Simo, wasn't his claim to fame that, he was part of the architect behind Luke Getsy being one of the leading rushers, calling Russian plays or some shit. But, like I alluded to before, who has...
How many rushing yards we got as a team today, Trip?
Today. But who has Chris Morgan developed on the offensive line, for one? And two, the alpha male, offensive coordinators like, look, man, this offensive line coach y'all got, looking at his history, he kind of sucks. And you're going to saddle me with him. That's going to cause, this cohesion, friction in the offensive side of the ball. And it shows on the field by players not knowing where to be, and the penalties, the lack of discipline, the play calling aside, which is kind of weird. But that lack of cohesion between the different levels of coaches will result in what we're seeing on the field. So that is a possibility. One way or the other, who's not listening to whom.
Hey, PJ just put it dead ass out there. He says power struggles and politics exist in football like everywhere else. Of course. PJ, I've said this thing a couple of times, even when I was when we first started doing this podcast. I broke up a fight one time between some of my coaches when they were installing. Now, I'm gonna say that in particular because they were installing a game plan for that following week. So it must have been what did we play? Friday or Saturday? I think it might have been a Saturday game. They was already in the building on Sunday evening, starting to install for next week, so that when we got back on the field, they already had at least a quarter of that game plan ready for us to install. And it was if I remember right, I believe the defensive coordinator and I think it was the D coordinator and the D line coach pretty much got into a fist fight in the hallway, and I split them up. And it was I don't really remember exactly what exactly they were talking about, but it was a matter of the defensive line coach trying to convince the coordinator, like, this is getting us killed. We need to try some of this. Is what I think I was hearing in the hallway before. I was in my position group room with my defensive backs. I was the only player over there. I was in there with my D-backs coach. And I was looking at film, and I came out in the middle of the hallway, and they were getting into it. These dudes be having scotch in their drawers. They're in there drinking and installing. They got to have some kind of fun while they're over there. They're around that son of a bitch 24/7. And, you had that kind of shit in the building, and I wasn't the only one out there splitting them up. I just was the first one in the hallway. I split them up, and then here come the other coaches, and they continue to split them up. But it came down to the power struggle of what I think we need to be doing. You're asking me to make my guys, my defensive line guys, play this style that they're getting their ass kicked on, because you insist on calling this game this way. And so that if that gives you guys a snapshot into what actually goes on the install process. The install process is a collective, it's like a group decision on this is how we have to approach this game, this opponent, this damn that opponent. You have to have a collective come together and have one way to go about this. And that ain't the easiest fucking thing to do. Do I believe that there's power struggles inside Hallis Hall in those position rooms? Absolutely. Absolutely. Who they're having those power struggles with, I have no idea, but I thought it would be interesting to bring that up and to talk to the guys about it so that people understand this shit ain't just Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron dialing up shit and they're going to pass it, give a memo to the other guys, and this is what we're going to do. No, they get to rebut that shit, and we're going to collectively come up with something.
Man, I just think that in a position that you are an offensive line coach that was retained through a new administration, you go, excuse me, Coach Waldron, what do you need me to do? There is no, I'm supposed to run this because they kept
We
me.
need to do it this way, my way. We need to go my way.
Do it my way. It's like, you are my offensive line coach until you're dead or I find somebody better. You know what I mean? Not wishing death on nobody and nothing like that. But you get the expression. Y'all saw the movie. So, offensive line coach is below offensive coordinator. And if that is the issue, that everything's being so dysfunctional on that side of the ball, yeah, Ryan Poles needs to get that fixed ASAP. Flus needs to get it fixed ASAP, but Flus is just too nice of a motherfucker.
I don't know what he is inside that building. He might be an asshole behind the scenes.
I don't know, a goofy ass looking dude. You don't know what's in this league.
Less to do with Flus, but definitely they won't be firing coaches mid-season. So like this is part of the reason why I went back to personnel, or went to personnel first. I understand this team has a problem with letting people in management go mid-season. That seems to be a thing. I'm not sure why.
Right. Because like, kids, tell me, bro, make this make sense. Hey, we see that you suck. We know that you suck, but we're not going to make any changes right now because we don't know what the new guy might do and he might suck too. So we're going to keep you even though we know you suck. And so the rest of the year is just going to suck.
Yeah, everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. You suck. You know what I mean?
I just want to know if anybody, you guys, I just want to know from you guys and anybody in the chat that what I said, does that make any kind of sense? The power dynamic and the layers of that shit, it goes down in the building. Everybody comes by the time people see the media. Oh, it's all everybody's, we love you, you love me type shit. No, it'd be some real shit going on behind the scenes, man. And it's people's fucking futures on the line. Friendship.
Ballers. I know what goes on in the NFL locker rooms.
Yeah, friendships.
We're just talking about regular old human relationships, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? They exist everywhere. Some people have big heads. Like, if we want to go talk about prior Bear stuff, Buddy Ryan was a jerk. He was a jerk to Ditka. Ditka didn't like him, and vice versa. But they both were able to accomplish what they needed to accomplish on either side of the ball. So it is what it is. Yeah, there's always going to be a political dynamic here. Where I went to again was the macro level, that there didn't have to be any sort of political dynamic at all. You didn't have to mix and match this thing. He didn't have to do that. He decided to do it. And here we are sorting out, the laundry.
The dirty laundry.
You know what I'm saying? Like the leftover stuff that's here. All right, is this guy good? I don't know, but he does this good. I'll put him in this spot.
I'm just offering us up another way to look at this, because when you narrow it down to a micro view of the whole situation, when you think about the players and the play on the field and why this isn't happening, that isn't happening, you got to start. It's like basic stuff we're talking about as the serum to why shit fucked up. You got to start looking a little bit deeper and peeling back the layer of the onion and finding out why did we run a speed option on a fourth on the goal line, shit like that. Why can't we get Caleb blocked up on an obvious passing situation? Why do we have Cole Kmet out there, blocking Liatu Latu? Why in the fuck would we have Cole Kmet out there? Why didn't someone call a timeout and say we need to change that blocking scheme up? That's an offensive line decision.
So he's run game coordinator as well, correct?
Who?
Chris Morgan.
Don't get me.
Yeah,
don't
he got elevated to that position. I don't know if he retained that same position with this with Waldron and his offense, but at the end of last season or so, he did get elevated to run game coordinator. Ooh.
Man. Yeah, need more boost.
Peel that onion back, you get to see it. Peel the onion back a little bit.
I don't, like I said, I don't.
Run game.
So many layers to this. So I don't know, man. I don't even know where to begin. Like I'm sitting there thinking, like, so we nerf Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert put up about 700 rushing yards last season.
Yeah.
Got 2 carries today. 4. My bad. 4.
But he was in on the Wildcat on goal line instead of Rojo, who's the more power back of the two. So, he's got that going for him.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't.
At some point, this guy's somebody's cranium needs to tumble.
But I thought that they didn't do that during the season at Hallis Hall.
You know what?
But this is why I'm going back to personnel. They're not going to fix if it's coaching, we're cooked. Like, just accept that. We're cooked for the season. There'll be no shifts.
I told you it's coaching, kid.
If it's coaching, there will be no solutions this season.
No, I think that's.
I'll be very if they go the route that you're suggesting, which is maybe getting somebody over and above to handle this thing. I don't expect them to do that. I have no clue who that is. We are sliding in somebody who may be just as much of an egotistical, who knows who we're putting into that position and how well he's going to jive with Shane Waldron and what Shane Waldron wants to do.
Chris Morgan gets promoted to run game coordinator. Not only does he survive the hack season when they start cleaning the house and get rid of hiring new coaches and getting rid of a couple of guys, he survives. Not only that, he gets a promotion to run game coordinator. And based on give him some credit. Based on how good the run game went the last couple of years, now you got to have kind of almost be a revisionist in history to understand how that came about. He had a pretty good run game the last couple of years, right?
Did he though?
So you can.
Or did he have a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback?
Yeah,
that's a good point too, man.
Oh yeah.
Let's not blame that.
Yeah.
Because Justin Fields, love him or hate him.
Hey, get him out of here.
His athleticism made a lot of Getsy's play calls look better than they were, and he made the offensive line look better than it was, and that was still horrible. So
it's just kind of funny, though. Get him out of here. You deserve a promotion. See how good you did.
Hey, good truth. I am not trying to defend Chris Morgan.
Oh man,
I'm seeing him as the problem.
No, and I'm with you. He might be the problem. I just don't believe that they will do very much by way of rectifying a coaching issue in season, given their history. Right? Plain English. That being the case, only thing they can do is by way of personnel.
I think, kids. And I got Coach T in my he's on my right shoulder in my ear screaming right now, saying we need to find a guy that specializes in gap power, run some power scheme, pull some guards, pull some tackles, and to really open up some lanes to force your will on a running back instead of this wide zone shit that they're doing. That's how Harry Heaston, that's how Thomas Jones and those running backs we had back in Lovey, that's how they did that shit.
Well, I think the problem is he knows that changes need to be made. Let's say that Poles and Flu see it as well. The problem is, where do you find those coaches during the season? because all of the coaches that are good and do that are employed. So that could be a reason why they never, get rid of people during the season, because they don't want to pay the interim person, and they won't be able to hire, the person that they want because they're still employed. But when it gets to the point that this is not working, we just can't keep doing the same thing, hoping that it will be better next week or the week after or the week after, because now the season's over. And it's like, oh, yeah, that was an issue that we never seem to resolve.
We don't have the wide zone scheme requires you to have some really, really quick and athletic guards. Now, Tevin Jenkins is really good, and I think he would be perfect to run power gap schemes. Perfect, because he knocks the shit out of people, and that's what you need, somebody with that kind of mentality like the Baltimore Ravens do. For the wide zone scheme, it's almost like, Tevin can move, but not like to the level of what they want to do move. So Nate Davis can too. He can move probably a lot better than Tevin can. I will just say that. But he's better at the wide zone run game than Tevin is. Tevin is custom made to knock people's nuke them loose, and that means that little gristle in your nose that holds your nose up, he will knock your shit through. And I think the scheme is more than anything else is really hurting them. Trying to force this wide zone scheme down people's throat is really hurting our team. And it's for an offensive line coach, you got to have the personnel to run that, and I don't think that we do. I really don't. I don't think we have the offensive linemen to pull that off.
Oh, yeah, that's also a reason, not an excuse as well. The defense has been geared up and built to what Flus wanted, so that's why he wants to run that vanilla scheme. In this first year of Shane Waldron, he may be like, yeah, we need those athletic guards to get out there like that, and Davis and Jenkins ain't it. So it could take another cycle of free agency and draft to, get 4 or 5 whole new offensive linemen. And now they got to have time to come together and gel. So, I mean, none of it is something that we can look forward to that next week is going to be addressed. I ain't heard nobody saying that. Like, yeah, next week is going to be good. This is a seasonal thing.
No, there's no quick fix here. No, there's no quick fix here. So the best thing that could happen is some level of trade for that number 2 pick from the Panthers in and around the trade deadline for somebody who will be a long-term fix on the offensive line. That could happen. But again, that's a few games away. And you got to hope the kid survives these few games. Things are looking a little shaky over there. But like I say, they did play a fair amount better today, minus Nate Davis. I have to say that.
Yeah. There was a noticeable difference for the better when Pryor was in there versus Davis.
Yeah, wasn't a perfect game, but hey, what offensive line has a perfect game? Definitely better than what we saw during week 1 and week 2. Just abysmal.
There's a lot more we can get into, because I think we just scratched the surface tonight, especially here towards the end of the show. With 2 hours and 4 minutes into the show, we gave you guys, I feel like, some pretty good content, and hopefully you guys are kind enough to say that this was pretty good. This was intriguing enough of a conversation to make me want to at least hit the like button. And if you feel real generous, you can hit the subscribe. But if you really want to help this channel grow, and you like the voices on this channel, and you like our personalities and what we bring to the table as far as Bears content creators, become a member. It's only $4.99 a month. It's only $4.99 a month, and we would definitely appreciate that. Here it is, right there. You can become a member for only $4.99 a month, and we would definitely appreciate that. And I just want to say that before we get ready to round out round off the show and let people know. I think we just scratched the surface, kids. But let me pass it on to you and give out some pleasantries before we go.
Yo, yeah, man. Been another week. Please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Big ups to all the Super Nomaniacs out there. Let me give some love as per normal to those who love us back. Big shout out to Bear Truth 9 out there. Mad love to you, sir. PJ, yo, man. Yeah, man. Whenever you get the opportunity, by all means, drop in. Always dope to chop it up with you like all times. Big ups to BCP. Rock Davis out there. What's up? Be mindful. McFact or MC Fact, depending on how you do it. Richard Long was with us today. Jose Goncalves. Like that, huh? Paul Martin. Illinois Jones. Don Burr. No love for Don Burr. Had to get the, I had to rub it in a little bit, Don. Did the Lions win today? Triple R, do you know? Did the Lions win?
I think they did.
They eked out a win. Damn it.
I think so.
That division looking real tight, man. I don't like it at all, especially with what's going on. Forget football. Let me give you guys some love. Jay Sanders. What it do? Who else we got? Robert Frail, Ant Moss, Daryl Gibson, Laz. Good to see you rolling with us today, Laz. Dwayne E. Wooten, what it do, Dwayne? Cam C. Damon Cross. We got a whole bunch of folks in here today. Rose Ball. What's cracking, Rose? Good to have you. Like, share, subscribe, please. We appreciate it. Super No Maniac, Leo Factor was with us. Cornelius Squalls, Kevin Scott, Mr. Mayhem. Man. Who else? Robin Harris. Shout out to my guy, Keith Harris out there, the Bishop. Big shouts. Who else? Let me see. Jigsaw was with us for a little bit today. That rounds it about. Oh, big love to It's Crimson as well as Yan Hammer, Slick Sophistication, STC. Man, yeah, we had a real packed house. Always good to have you guys with us, rocking with Nomad at Night. Throw it down to my guy, Triple R. Give her, my brother.
First, I want to give a shout out to, I guess, one of the enemy now, Tommy Adebore, Northwestern. He had a sack today against our team. But, yeah, it was nice to see him progress. He was my draft crush last year. But big ups to the No Maniacs. Hope you all come through at Sports Chicago style. We got our post-game wrap-up premiering at 10:30 in another 20 minutes from now. So come check us out. And, shout out to all the No Maniacs, Nomad, the dude, kids. Kids got a little Rico suave illness there for a minute. Yeah. Hi, Chihuahua. So, yeah, it's never good losing, especially when the victories are right there. So it's frustrating, and we look for reasons, we look for excuses, but we just look for comfort. And hopefully we found that in each other as our bear brethren. So, yeah, it's still suckage, and some of us may think that the suckage is going to last a lot longer, then hopefully it will. So, yeah. So, see y'all in 20 minutes at on the channel there and down the road on the interwebs.
Hey, man, shout out to Trips for always being there, man. He's a true No Maniac for real, man. Trips is always there, man, and I just love that guy, man. I appreciate him even more now that he's doing his own channel, and he's not there every time we do a show. I always appreciate him and loved him, but I really appreciate him now, man. He's forging ahead with his stuff, and I believe in really flowering each other, man. I really believe that. I don't just talk when I say that shit. And I believe in flowering him. So make sure you guys go over to Sports Chicago style and pour some fluid on the flower, man, and help it grow. That's all we
said. Deflowering him for a second. That was a little bit confusing.
Hey now.
Let me give some love
to
Canada. Give some love to Torian Whitfield. Always good to have you, Torian. Big ups to you, my dog. Also, somebody please take away Rock Davis's keys. Somebody confiscate Rock Davis's keys.
Oh, damn.
All right. All right. Take us home, Nomad.
No, man, I just wanted to give my guy Trips his flowers, man. I appreciate and love that guy, man. For real. We love him here. And we love whenever we can get him on here. And I hope you guys can appreciate him. Like I said, go over there to Sport Chicago style and water the flower, man, and help it grow. That's what we do around here as a community. That's why I love you guys, man. Straight up. I can never have enough words to tell you how much I really appreciate everybody that comes and plays a part in what we do over here. Because there's too many names to count, and I love that Kids takes that role on to be able to name them. But trust and believe me, whoever you are out here, and if you've been a part of what we're doing, or if you just got here, and just found out about the channel and you like what you're seeing and you love being a part of this community, you can see right away if you just got here that we try to rally. We'll try to find the good in all the bad that's going on. And that's just what we do, man. We just really love the community, the growth that we get. You know, I just love people that come to the show. I just really do. I just can't never say enough words about it. I just appreciate y'all. I think that's the best thing I can say is I really, really fucking appreciate y'all in a deep ass way. And I just mean that. You know, every last one of y'all, I really appreciate y'all. And I think I speak for everybody when I say that. Appreciation is just deep for me. So I just wanted to say that before we get ready to get out of here and leave you with something nice to think about before you get out of here. I don't think people do make moral choices based on the outcome they'll get. I think people make moral choices based on the fact that they know it's right. So when it comes to a moral choices are normally things that you don't necessarily have time to think about. So if a kid was burning up and was in a house burning up, you know, it's a house on fire, and this one person out there that has the moral capacity to go in there and get that kid, you're not thinking about what the results might be. You just went in there and got that kid because it's the right thing to do, didn't you? Right? And so you carry that. If you carry that mindset throughout life, you're in a good space. You're going to tend to lean towards doing the right thing rather than not, more times than not. And so I just wanted to have something. I just want to leave you guys something to think about. You don't make moral choices based on what you think the outcomes may be. You make moral choices based on you know that it's right. So just keep that with you. Put it in your wallet, put it in your purse, and keep it with you throughout life. You know, tomorrow could be anybody in here's chances to go make that moral choice, and hopefully your instincts take over and you do it. And the results will be the results, and you did it because it's right. But with that being said, I'm gonna leave you with these famous last words. If you can think it and you can see it, you can absolutely manifest it. It's all the power in your mind. You just have to believe in yourself, get out of your own way. But with that being said, we are out.